Momo Anaconda? I used to think the creepiest things on the internet were just urban legends. That was before I heard the sound that still keeps me awake at night. The slow, wet slithering against my bedroom wall, followed by the faintest whisper of my own name. It started in the most ordinary way. I was at my cousin Daniel's house in Florida for the summer. He lived on the edge of a swamp, the kind of place where the air was always humid and buzzing with insects. His parents worked nights, leaving us alone more often than not. That particular night, we were bored out of our minds. Around midnight, Daniel suggested something stupid, Charlie, or the Ouija board kind of stupid. But instead, he pulled out his phone and said, "You ever hear of Momo?" Of course I had. Everyone had, back when the Momo challenge was all over the news. A creepy face, bugged out eyes, a twisted grin. It was supposed to just be some viral scare. But Daniel grinned in the dark, his face lit only by the phone screen, and said, "There's a version of it people don't talk about online. Something about Momo waking up when you mix her name with something else." I laughed it off at first, until he told me there's something else. It was Antija's Momo. It was Momo combined with the name of a spirit that haunted the swamps, the Anaconda. A creature locals said was half woman, half serpent. A cursed figure that slithered through the water at night, pulling the careless under. Daniel said, "If you say it at 3 a.m., Momo, Anaconda, awaken, things start happening." I told him it was dumb. I told him we should just play Xbox. But he was insistent. "Come on, we'll record it. And if nothing happens, we'll laugh about it later." So we waited. Two dumb teenagers in a dark house, the swamp air pressing heavy through the open window. At 3:01 a.m., Daniel held his phone up, recording, and whispered, "Momo, Anaconda, awaken." He said it 3 times. Nothing happened, or at least not immediately. Laughed, shoved the phone in my face, and asked, "Scared yet?" I punched him in the shoulder and said no. Shut the lights off, climbed into our separate beds, and eventually drifted off. Then cicadas outside sang us to sleep. That's when the first sound came. A dragging, slithering sound, faint, like something heavy sliding across the floorboards. I opened my eyes. The moonlight through the window made the room look washed out in silver. Daniel was asleep already, mouth open, snoring lightly. I sat up, my skin damp with sweat from the swamp heat. I told myself it was nothing, maybe a raccoon outside, maybe the house settling. Then it came again. Closer. A slow, wet slither, and this time, I swear I heard the faintest whisper. Not words, just the shape of them. Breathy, thin, brushing the edges of my name. ... Eli. ... I froze. My heart hammered so hard I felt it in my ears. Didn't want to wake Daniel and look like an idiot. But the sound came again, this time against the wall, like something enormous pressing along the outside of the house, sliding, dragging, whispering. I finally threw a pillow at Daniel. He groaned, rolled over, and blinked at me. "What, do you hear that?" I whispered. He rubbed his eyes. "Hear what?" The room was silent. No slithering. No whispers. Just the bugs outside. I shook my head. "Sorry." Daniel muttered a curse and went back to sleep. I stayed awake the rest of the night, staring at the ceiling, straining to hear. Nothing else came. When morning light finally bled through the curtains, I told myself I was just imagining things. It was a mix of the swamp noises and my cousin's dumb story. But the next night it got worse. We played video games until late again, both of us avoiding the subject of Momo or Anaconda. By 2:30, Daniel was half asleep on the couch, controller slipping from his hands. I turned off the TV, cleaned up the soda cans, and got ready for bed. That's when I noticed the sound of water dripping. Not from the sink, not from the AC. It was coming from the hallway. I leaned into the dark, listening. Drip, drip. I flicked the light on. The hallway floor was wet, a trail of water leading toward the front door. Except it wasn't water. It was thick, dark, almost like swamp mud. I followed it, every step of me, screaming not to. The trail stopped at the door. I opened it, expecting maybe a busted pipe or an animal that got in. But outside was just the swamp, still endless, steaming in the moonlight. And then just barely I saw it. The reeds at the edge of the water shifted, not like the wind had moved, them like something had pushed through. The water rippled, slow and wide, as if a massive body slid beneath it. I slammed the door shut so hard the frame rattled. Daniel shouted from the couch, "What the hell, man?" I didn't answer. Couldn't. That night I dreamed of her, a face too pale with bulging eyes, a grin too wide, stretching until the corners tore. Her hair was wet, stringy, clinging to her shoulders, but below the waist there was no body, just scales. Black glistening coils that stretched forever into the swamp water. She lifted a finger, long and sharp, and pressed it to her lips. I woke up gasping. My sheets were damp, not from sweat, but from water. Mud streaked across my blanket, as if something dripping had leaned over me while I slept. I wanted to leave. I begged Daniel to come with me, to stay at my place for the rest of the summer. But he laughed it off, said I was letting the stories get to me. Just the swamp, man. It's messing with your head. Relax.
That night, Daniel woke me up. It was past 3 a.m. He shook me hard, eyes wide and frantic. You heard it too, right? The sound was unmistakable now. A dragging, sliding noise right under the floorboards. The whole house seemed to vibrate with it. The walls creaked. A whisper bled through the air. Not in my name this time, but in Daniel's. ... Daniel ... He clamped a hand over his mouth, trembling. The sound circled the house, moving slow, deliberate. Then it stopped beneath the window. We didn't dare look, but we smelled it a stench like rot. Swamp water mixed with death. The whisper came again, right against the glass. ... Awaken ... quotes! Daniel and I held our breath. Neither of us moved until dawn. That morning, Daniel was pale. He didn't make jokes. He didn't laugh. He just stared at his phone. I asked what he was doing, and he said he was deleting the video, the one where he said it. If we get rid of it, maybe it'll stop. But deleting it didn't stop anything. That night, the whispers came back. Louder. The slithering shook the walls. At one point, the floor beneath Daniel's bed bowed inward, like something massive pressed up from underneath. He screamed and jumped to my side of the room. We didn't sleep at all. We sat back to back with the lights on until morning. By the fourth night, we were both awake. No sleep, no appetite, just waiting for darkness. Around 3 a.m., when the slithering began again, Daniel broke. He shouted into the dark. "What do you want?" The answer came. The whisper wasn't in the walls this time. It was inside the room. A voice like water, gurgling through a throat too narrow. ... Come to the water. The window rattled. The mud streaks appeared on the glass, long smears like claw marks. The smell was unbearable. Daniel grabbed my arm. "We can't stay here." So we ran. We bolted from the house into the humid night toward the road. The swamp sang around us with insects and frogs, but beneath it all, I heard the dragging, sliding noise following just behind. We didn't look back. Not once. We ran until we hit pavement, until the lights of a gas station glowed in the distance. We didn't go back to Daniel's house. His parents didn't believe a word of what we said, but they moved 2 months later. After finding the foundation warped, the walls damp with black water, as if the swamp itself was seeping in. They left the house abandoned. Daniel doesn't talk about it anymore. He won't answer when I bring it up. Sometimes I think he's trying to convince himself it never happened. But I know it did, because I still hear her sometimes. In the quiet, in the dark, when the night is still is, and the air smells of stagnant water. A whisper brushing against my ear, promising she's still waiting. Awaken!